How do I give administrators access to a folder without destroying current permissions? I have a folder that I can't access from an account that is part of the administrators group on Windows 7. If I bring up the Security tab on the Properties, I see, you do not have permission to view or edit this object's permission settings. If I click on Advanced and go to the Owner tab, it tells me that it is unable to display current owner. I can get access to the folder by reassigning ownership, but this destroys the current permissions on the folder. So, is there some way of giving admins access to the folder without taking control and destroying the current permissions?
If you are not listed as can read/change permissions in the folder's ACL, you cannot change them, no matter who or what you are. All users, administrators, built-ins, even NT authority /system, are treated equally by the security code. The system-wide take ownership privilege is an exception, but it cannot modify the ACL either, only reset it. You must log in as someone who is allowed to do this, either directly, username plus password, or, if you have a lot of spare time, by doing some secreto privilege wizardry.
Some careful digging reveals that taking ownership sometimes destroys existing permissions and sometimes doesn't. It all seems to depend on whether you try and do it recursively. Note that Windows does warn you when it is going to replace the existing permissions, but, in the GUI at least, it's very easy to just OK the message without reading or understanding it fully. To see it, you'll need a directory, /some folder in this example, that is owned by a different user account and to which you and the administrators group have zero access. Command line. Using the command line takeown tool. takeown /a/r/fc:\/ some folder. You should see something like success. The file, or folder, /some folder is now owned by the administrators group. You do not have permissions to read the contents of the directory. /some folder. Do you want to replace the directory permissions with permissions granting you full control? Y for yes and for no, C for cancel? Note that if you answer yes here, it really does mean replace the permissions. Any existing permissions will get destroyed. If you answer no, you still have no permissions on the folder but are now the owner, so can give yourself permissions normally and without destroying any that already exist. If you don't specify the recursive flag /r, you don't get the warning and the owner is changed without affecting any other permissions. GUI. You'll need to use the Security tab of the Properties window to alter anything via the GUI. This gives you two buttons, Continue and Advanced. Advanced gives you a window with the 4 tabs, Permissions, Auditing, Owner, and Effective Permissions. Continue gives you just the Owner tab. If you select a new owner and tick the Apply to subfolders box, hitting OK or Apply gives you a Do you want to replace the permissions? Message box that, again, really does mean replace permissions. If you don't check the subfolders box, you don't get the warning and everything behaves as expected. It is very easy to not read this message box fully. Assume it's just another box asking you to confirm something non-destructive, and just hit enter to OK it. It's also very easy to assume they couldn't possibly really mean replace because nobody sane would ever want to do that.
It is okay to use the Replace Owner on Subcontainers and Objects checkbox highlighted in green. It is not okay to sue the Replace All Child Object Permissions Entries checkbox highlighted in red. The latter one will replace existing ACLS permissions, rather than just changing the owner.
Old question, but still high on the Google results. And it's missing a significant answer. It is actually possible to grant yourself access while preserving existing permissions, but you need to get hold of subnecl.exe, a little command line tool originally from Microsoft's Windows Resource Kits. You need local admin access on the target, obviously, run from elevated command prompt. You can also do it recursively, for example. But recursively does create an explicit ACE, not inherited, at every single subfolder at every level, which is very messy if you have a fairly big directory structure. Also note you need the asterisk, recursion doesn't work without that for some reason. I'd only recommend using it as a last resort though, and practice it on a test area first with some non-essential data, as it's an old utility, and can be a bit temperamental if using recursion, subdirectories, as explained above.
support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.